Good evening, everyone. And today we are reading the chapter 44 from the book Rays of the One Light, written by Swami Kriyananda. And the name of this chapter, Why Tell God Anything When He Knows Everything? And why offer God anything when He has everything? Truth is one and eternal. Realize one's oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teaching of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ teaches as the ideal prayer one that addresses very human demands to God. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Jesus himself says, just before suggesting this prayer, your Father knows what things you have need of before you ask him. Why then his recommendation that we pray for anything? The answer is that we should offer ourselves up in acceptance of his abundance. Don't pester God as though pulling constantly on his sleeve to get his attention. Approach him with the confidence of a child in its parent, and in that spirit, then ask him lovingly, but with complete trust, as though demanding your birthright, and without the slightest doubts in your mind that he wants only your best. For you don't have to persuade him the way a beggar or stranger might. You are his own child. God knows everything already. He knows what is in your heart. It is you who needs to clarify your feelings, that you attune yourself to him in turn more clearly. For only by such clarity will you be able to receive perfectly what he gives you. For the same reason, we need to offer ourselves to him not because he needs anything from us, except, as Yogananda said, our love to complete his love for us, but because by self-giving we expand our awareness from its confinement in the little ego outward to infinity. Those who partake of the nectar remaining after a sacrifice, says the Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter, attain to the infinite spirit. That person, however, who makes no sacrifices never truly succeed in enjoying even the blessings of the material world. How then could we attain happiness in subtler realms? Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om.
So, good evening, friends. Today's topic is very, very interesting. Complete surrender to God's will, or complete acceptance of His will in our lives. Is it easy? It's not easy. We think it's easy, we are just living Guruji's teaching, but I think it's not easy. Guruji has written, let thy will be done, not my will. Whatever comes of itself, let it come. So it's very, very difficult sometimes in difficult situations of life to accept this. For that matter, it's not a very easy topic, it's a difficult topic actually. To just explain this topic, I just learned a very similar lesson regarding this yesterday only. So I just share my experience. So what happened, I just registered for a workshop. That was just advanced trauma life support workshop. So I was studying for that workshop almost from last 2 months, day and night whenever I was getting time. So it was very big book, 300 pages. I'm already a physician, but I'm very good in medicine. I'm teaching medicine. I'm already instructor in medicine workshop, but I just wanted to be a very good instructor in trauma also, as I'm not a surgeon also. But still I wanted to perform well, not only pass with flying colors, but I wanted to be an instructor. That was my desire. So I was thinking, definitely I studied very well. I will pass very good with good marks, but I will definitely be chosen as an instructor. That was a desire and little bit of ego I was having. So the workshop was there for last 3 days. I really performed well. For the first 2 days, there was one other doctor. She was also doing good, but my ego was telling me, no, you are doing more good. So, of course, I was answering more questions. But the last day, basically the clinical scenarios was going to happen. That a practical session was there on the last day. So that is a practice session first, and then the exam session was there. So luckily we both were together for the practice session. So I did my practice session very well. When she was performing, she was not performing it well because she just forgot all the curriculum what was there. So being a Guruji's devotee, I told her, now the exam will happen. This was just a practice session. Come outside, I'll teach you. I've studied in the night this everything, all the curriculum. So I taught her the full curriculum. So after that the exam happened. That was just 20 minutes. So I did 3 silly mistakes. And that last scenario, which I was not supposed to do, and when she went after me, she just did everything correctly. So what happened? I passed, she passed, but I was not chosen as an instructor. She was chosen. Otherwise, we both should be chosen, or maybe one of us. So I was very upset. So for the whole day, I came home very upset. Amarji was consoling me. It's okay, Mansi. But Mansi was not listening. The Mansi inside me I was very upset with God and Guruji also. Why you did this to me? I was such a deserving candidate. I studied so hard. I performed so well. I just did 3 mistakes. But that was not very big mistakes actually. But Mansi was not listening. So he took me out for the tea and coffee. Okay, we'll go out. You will feel better. We went out. I was fine, but back of my mind, same thought. So in the morning, again, I got up and started praying. Then finally, I listened to God's will. Then I said, it's okay, I'm a devotee. I should not think like that. Maybe, as Dr. Amar is saying, it's for your good. So God will give you something better than this. Maybe it's not your fate or your luck or your karma which has come out true, that you didn't get this, you did these mistakes. Then I was free, I was feeling very peaceful, very harmonious. The moment I accepted His will, till that I was not accepting till morning. So after that, I have to prepare for my satsang also. Then I just opened the topic and the same topic was there. So that was the greatest learning lesson for me since yesterday till today morning. So then, okay, God has given me the same topic for satsang and same lesson to learn yesterday. Whatever happens, accept it. That is the best for you. That is the God's will. And one more story that Guruji went to a saint's ashram. Swamiji has written this story, Wave and Ocean. So he was very fond of saints, as he was very teenager, and he was very fond of saints, and wherever he used to learn that so and so saint has come, his ashram is here, he will go and visit, even his teens also. So he listened about some saint, so and so saint has come, he is a divine incarnation from his disciples. So okay, I will visit and I'll just do my pranam. I will visit this saint, divine saint. So he went there. So what he has seen, he did his pranam. The saint was very happy. So more of flattery was going on there than the divine consciousness which was flowing. Even then he sat down calmly to listen to his words. The first line, what this saint has said, I am God. The Guruji was stunned. What is happening here? Then he got up. He said, no, you can't say this. You are not God. Then saint was furious. He was having a wrathful image on his face. Then Guruji took out a mirror from his pocket and just show him the mirror. See your face. How can you be the God? So, and he just shown him the mirror and he got up and he ran towards the door. The saint was just stunned. What happened in front of all the disciples who were sitting? Then he just ran after him. And just near the door, he stopped him. Sir, please stop, I want to talk to you. Then with the folded hands, he said to Guruji, he was a young guy and he was in 50s, maybe 60s, very old saint. With folded hands, he said to him, thank you. I'm very grateful to you that you have just woken me up from my greatest delusion. So what Guruji said to him, you are not the ocean. You are not God. You are just a wave in the ocean. Just think yourself as a wave that you have to merge in the ocean with all the divine efforts you have to do, and then you will become the ocean. You are not the ocean. So then he just said, okay, I'm leaving. Then he came. So friends, from these two stories, they are very different. One is complete surrender to God. One is just egoic self that I am God. So what we learn? So what are the steps that we can take to do a complete surrender? I know it's not easy. It was not easy for me also yesterday, being a devotee. I was just going into all that ego and all into that my desire. No, I am the deserving. I will not talk to you, Lord. I was so upset with the Lord's this thing, because I was not praying. I was not talking to Krishna. I was not talking to Guruji, because I am a devotee. So my nature is that I keep on talking to each and every part during my daily activities also. Guruji, let's drive. Guruji, let's cook food. So like this I live my life. That is my way of life. So how to strengthen that? We should have a complete acceptance to God and Guruji's wills. So there are very few steps, 5 or 6 steps. The first step is be a spiritual warrior. Never be afraid to be a wave, to merge in the ocean, because ocean is very vast. Sometimes we are very afraid, if we will merge in that divine consciousness, we will just forget our identity. It's not like that. So never be afraid. Just flow in that divine power, flow in that divine consciousness. So the next step is meditate daily, do kriya, at least twice a day. So what we are doing when we are meditating, we are doing kriyas, we just having one great relationship with the divine energy. Whatever we are feeling around us, that is divine power, the divine energy, that is enlightening us to tell there's nobody is separate. Whosoever is sitting, we are already one in that light. So no individual is separate, no particle is separate. Everything is flowing in that power, in that energy. We thinking this is liquid, this is gas, this is human being, this is solid. No. Everything is happening inside that divine energy, and everything is flowing. All the galaxies, all the stars, all the earth, everything is energy. Everything is happening inside God, inside God's energy, inside God's power. Nobody is separate. Every person is our own higher infinite self. So that is the power. This is basically Maya, which is playing. We are just playing our parts in this Maya, in this drama of life, as God has designed, because of our karma as such. So everybody is playing that part in this divine drama, because God has designed that part for him. And we should not take life too seriously. So we have to be very calm. Calmness gives us the power to just calm over all the obstacles of life. So Guruji has written that whatever comes in life, be non-attached. Live your life with love, kindness, humility. And one other thing, just develop a very deep relationship with God. Just he is like your father or maybe your mother, and you are a child of God. You have the right on him. Don't be a beggar. That here also, in this paragraph, Guruji, don't be a beggar. Have your right. Like the child is crying till the mother is giving the attention. Mother has to come, because child is crying so badly that mother is leaving all the work and coming to just pick up the child. So be like that with God, that he has to come out of his cave of silence. Like there is a chant, reveal thyself. He has to reveal thyself, because that is the power, should be the power of your prayer. And pray to God. Just Just guide me throughout my life, that I should not wander away. And just say him, I'm your child. Whenever you call me back, I'm always ready to come back. And chisel my life, design my life according to your will, your guidance. Because I don't know what to do. Just ask, even for small things in life, his guidance. Then accept his will. And what Guruji is the just go God's boatsman. He has just guided us with all the teachings and live the teachings of Guruji and try to be better with each passing day. We cannot be perfect in one day, maybe in one lifetime, but try. Every day, just today morning I got up, I just tried my best once more that I should accept it. Then you will be feel more freer inside. So live for God, love God, live your life with kindness, love, humility, and live the teachings of Guruji. And Guruji has written, I'll come with bleeding feet, maybe trillion times, if I come to know that even a one stray brother is left behind. He has written a very beautiful poem in Whispers of Eternity, God, God, God. This poem means that only He exists. Nothing else is existing in this universe. Only He is, everything is happening inside Him, not outside Him. So just be the wave, friends, and merge in the ocean with Guruji's teaching, with his guidance, and try every day be harder, harder, harder. And thank you, friends. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Mansi ji. And it is really hard to come second when, especially when you talk from your own experience. There is nothing better than that. And as many times all the saints have said this, that experience is the greatest teacher. We may talk and read so many things, but unless we see for ourselves what is happening in our lives, and when we apply and then we gain something, that is something extraordinary, and it really has the power to transform ourselves. The subject which I read for this evening was that, do we really need to tell God when He knows everything? Do we really need to talk to Him when He is always omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent? And Swamiji writes a very beautiful line there in the whole reading for this week, that why is it important to pray? And because the topic is, why offer God anything when He has everything, and why tell God anything when He knows everything? Where he says that God knows everything already. He knows what is in your heart. It is you who need to clarify your feelings, that you attune yourself to Him in turn more clearly. For only by such clarity will you be able to receive perfectly that He gives you. Now, that is important because often we, sometimes I do feel that, that's just like, Yogananda said, that there are only two motivations which help us to live this life. One is that we want to be happy, and we want to avoid suffering. So, and this is how exactly we try to align our lives accordingly. We, in fact, live and have multiple experiences. We have friends and families and so many things just to, work in between these 2 points in our lives. But still, we do get disappointments. We do get, we become sad, or we lose hope, we lose heart. So what should we be doing during that time? As Mansi ji was saying, that it was hard because she had an expectation and it didn't happen that way. Then this thought came to me when I was driving on my way to Satsang this evening, that see these disappointments as speed breakers on the road, because sometimes they are in fact like a circuit breaker. Because if you see these, when you sometimes plug a very heavy gadget into a socket, sometimes it trips down and the whole power shuts down, because it's like, that tripping is essential, because if it doesn't trip at that time, maybe it's a threat to the electrical wiring because it can blow up, or maybe the whole wiring will be on fire. So those disappointments which come in our lives, or anything, an unfulfilled desire, actually acts like a circuit breaker, because that is the time for introspection of, seeing, okay, what, just like Swami used to say once, if you become unhappy for something in your life, always ask yourself this question: what are you attached to? And even if this simple thing we ask ourselves, what am I attached to? In Mansi ji's case, maybe she was attached to one skill, one recognition of a skill. She has already many skills in her pocket or under her hat, but maybe she wanted one more, and she knew that she has worked hard, she deserved it, but still she didn't get it. And at the 11th hour, something happened. And this is important because maybe, as Master said, that it's very important to differentiate between our needs and wants. Then, because this is something which can actually, if we do not pay that, if we do not exercise our discrimination between segregating these two things, maybe we will get lost in this whole drama of creation, because ultimately it's a temporary world, and whatever skills we may acquire here will remain here only. And maybe God wants us to pay attention to a greater degree of need, which probably we are not paying attention to. And so it acts like a circuit breaker, that disappointment, that kind of, something, failure, or you may call it anything, because that is the point of introspection. Now, even when we talk to God, as Swami has written here, that in that talking, you clarify your feelings, you clarify your understanding, because sometimes on the spiritual path also we have many techniques that Yogananda has given us, and all of them, in fact, Yogananda said, even one of them, if you practice diligently, you can find God. He even said this about Hongso, which is one of the simplest techniques that we practice. He even talked about energization exercises, that if you do not have any technique to carry with you on an island, you can just carry it, this technique, and all others, rest will follow. So, but the point here is that techniques alone may not be effective, or they may not give us that highest, it may not fulfill our need to that level unless we unite that technique with the prayer, or with that talking to God, which is essential, because this will clarify our feelings. At some point I also realized that yes, I am practicing the techniques, but why I am practicing? What is my greatest need? And that is a question I think we should ask ourselves, because at one time Yogananda also mentioned that all of us are like sleeping sons of God. And I should quote him. Actually, it's a very beautiful paragraph that he has written there in the Whispers from Eternity. In fact, Whispers from Eternity is a book that he dedicated. He said, these are the answered prayers I'm giving you. And he actually kept that book in the same league of scriptures as Bhagavad Gita and Holy Bible. He also said about Whispers from Eternity that when I am only a dream, read my Whispers from Eternity. Eternally through it, I will talk to you. That's a beautiful statement, because he knew that one day he will be going from this scene in the physical sense, but he said, this is what I'm giving you, and through this, I will talk to you. Coming to the point that why we need to have this conversation with God, why do we need to talk and pray? Because he said, how a sleeping son of God may be awakened, the fact remains that a soul, however wrong in its outward egoic behavior, is really a sleeping son of God. The greatest sinner on earth is only an unawakened child of God, a sleeping immortal, merely refusing to receive his light fully by clarifying his own consciousness. That is why in John 1, para 2:12, we find written, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, The ocean cannot be held in a teacup. The cup must expand to become as large as the bowl of land holding the ocean. Similarly, the cup of human consciousness must, by concentration and the purification of all human faculties, be enlarged to infinity in order to comprehend God. This it can do only by receiving through the Guru the consciousness of Christ. Receiving denotes here capacity acquired by self-development and inner attunement. It is different merely from belief. Now, here one point which he wants to tell us is that it is only by clarifying or by purifying ourselves that we will be able to receive this power, and this purification is only possible when we receive God, Guru's consciousness into ourselves, and that is how exactly we will be able to tune in. So one reason why we should, and there are many saints actually, we have what they have already spoken about the power of prayers, where one of the saints I remember was during the World War II, that this gentleman was praying for many souls. But at some point he started having this doubt in his mind that are my prayers really helping anybody? I continue to pray and keep talking to my God with whatever understanding I have. But later on, probably in a vision or when he went to heaven after his physical death, God showed him that how much help he could actually brought, how much light he could bring into the world by praying for those souls which were facing the challenges. In fact, we also talked about this great saint Frank Laubach, who made it a habit of conversing with God always, and he said that this habit of, or this conscious effort that he was making of talking to God actually make everything effortless in his life. All the things, they started happening naturally to him. We also have an example of Sister Gyana Mata, where her beautiful prayer was that in any circumstance, whenever she was there, that God, please do not change my circumstances, please change me. Now, in fact, Guruji has given us very beautiful prayers. If you see, I consider some of them as primary prayers, because he said that ultimately, why do we suffer? If, let us say, this question comes to our mind, okay, some suffering is happening, maybe it is happening on a physical, emotional, mental level. He said, God loves equally the saints as well as the sinners. But first of all, he said, don't call yourself a sinner, because that is the greatest sin. But at the same time, he said, that at some point, if we have misused God-given power of reason, that is the only reason why we suffer. So if we find ourselves in some kind of disappointment, then probably we have, at some point, we have misused that power of reasoning. And that is why he gave us a very beautiful prayer, that he said, God, I will reason, I will, and I will act. Please guide thou my reason, will, and activity in everything, to the right action in everything that I do, which I consider as one of the primary prayers. Because if we have to talk to God, it can be very simple. First of all, in Whispers from Eternity, he said, that talking to God should be heart to heart, because that is why we started this satsang with this chant, with this mantra, Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. Because unless we bring God close enough, or very close enough for that matter, even closer than our blood relatives, no amount of talking is going to be effective. Because if we keep God at a very high pedestal, then God is very distant, and you feel maybe he's listening or maybe he's not. I mean, who has seen God? And so many doubts can actually creep into our mind. And then what will happen? He said, doubts, absent-mindedness, restlessness, these are the biggest obstacles to our prayers getting answered. He in fact even said that restlessness is like striking a wet matchstick, which is to say that if it is wet, it will not have any fire in it. So the point here, I think, is very important. The only thing which we need to understand is, first of all, that conversing with God is very important, because even equally important as practicing the techniques. Because remember what Yukteswarji said. He said that Kriya plus devotion is a perfect mathematical formula for finding God. But he did keep that devotion element over there, and prayers, actually talking to God, do help us in having that close bond with God. That God, I am your child, just like Mansiji was saying, that this is where I am, this is my challenge, and maybe I am not finding myself strong enough to face it, but you got to help me. And yes, he will help you, but he may not help us in our desires or wants. He will certainly help us in our need. And what is our greatest need? A very beautiful quote I read a long time back, but also recently when in this book that Jyotishji has recently, Meditation Born Art, where Yogananda said that unless you know how to shift your attention from failure to success, from worries to calmness, from restlessness to concentration, and from concentration to peace, and peace to divine bliss within, all your life's labors are in vain. Now that's a very big statement, because we do so much labor, and it is actually a labor only that we do in our lives, because Swami said that ultimately it will come to zero, and it will go in vain unless we have learned this ability. And the second line there he says is, if you have gained that control, he said, the purpose of life is gloriously fulfilled. Now how outstanding is that quote? Now when, imagine, that so many times, I find myself restless, and I remember about this quote, that if in this moment I can shift my attention from restlessness to concentration, that is one of my need, which I think will help me to attain my purpose of life. If I find myself worried, can I shift my attention from worries to calmness in that moment? If I find myself, into, which is the other part of the quote, that if from restlessness to concentration, and concentration to peace, and peace to divine bliss within. So if we have to really pray, because as Master said that the greatest reason why we suffer is ignorance. And what is ignorance? When we do not realize what is the purpose of life. And in one quote, Yogananda has given us a beautiful understanding of what is the purpose of life, of a human life. And then if we pray for that, and if we tell God, okay, God, please give me this ability, that I can get over restlessness, I can have concentration of my mind, I can attain peace at will. I also, know where, but one time somebody came to click the picture of Master, and Master said, give me a moment. And in just those 2 moments, he said, I went into Samadhi. He went into Samadhi, and he said, now you can take the picture. That kind of control. Now you may say, oh, he was a master. But what made him a master? And why was he here? Because ultimately his job is to actually help us to become masters of our own selves. So with that thought, friends, I think let us continue to have the conversation. First, have this understanding that, okay, what is my greatest need in this life? Let us not ask God about mundane things, because sometimes I also think about this thought that maybe God comes right here and in front of me and says, you have done it, just ask whatever you want to and I will fulfill your wish. What am I going to ask? If I have no clarity in my mind, then maybe I will fumble, or I will just ask him, okay, give me 2 moments, let me think over. But if you have clarity, if you have lived that clarity, you will say, this is it. And you will say, God, please give me this, and tathastu, and you will be there. So with that thought, let us close this evening, friends, and we'll do an aarti now.